Everybody joining the number one right now is, I think, now one of America's favorites. Corey, welcome to the number one. How are you?
Hello. I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't think I'm
Okay.
America's favorite. I'm at least my favorite, so that's good enough for
It's a good start. I do think like I do think there are like people who now like you and Big T have made up. They're like, okay, I can like him now. Are
me.
you
Yeah.
seeing any of that like happen to you in real life? Or are your Twitter mentions a little bit different now than they were last season?
Yeah, I definitely think they are. I mean, one of the things about me is like I consider myself a good partner. And obviously I burned Big T last season, and the only thing I wanted to do this time around, once I realized I was paired with her, it's I wanted redemption. I wanted to earn her trust, wanted to be her friend. I wanted to like when challenges got tough, I wanted to be a motivator and not someone that was going to drag anyone down. So I think I'm seeing some of that online. Hopefully, people realize I'm not as much as an asshole as I may come across sometimes, but we'll have to see.
We'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
This is a small sample size. We could have a redemption, but we believe.
Let's see what happens next, right?
There we go. Yeah, if I see it
Yeah.
again, then maybe we might have a problem.
Yeah.
So we're watching this episode that we just finished watching. There was the whole middle segment was a lot of like, well, these people are going for these. The thems are doing
Yeah.
this. All of this. Now, at least to me, it seemed like it was you who may have started to do the push to get Dario and Ashley in.
hmm
Is that true? And now that you kind of, unbeknownst to you, were on the chopping block, I guess, to face them
Right.
in elimination, any
Yeah.
regrets that we were not full in on Veronica and Katie?
I think I wanted a star really bad. There was a couple episodes ago we did the truck challenge, and I wanted to at that point nominate myself to get a star. So I did want a star holder down there at the end of the day, and I was the one kind of pushing for Ashley and Dario. I knew it would be easy to get the house to convince them because of what Dario did to Leroy. In hindsight, I do think Veronica and Katie are bigger threats than they come across because their social game is top tier. And they were aligned with Adam and Steve, who already didn't like me. So it was, I don't know, it was a tough decision to make, but ultimately we tried our best. I wanted to get a star. We couldn't do it this time, and that's how the cards just drew themselves this time.
I know in the last episode, not the one that we just saw, but the one before that, there was a
Yeah.
little, I don't want to say fisticuffs because that's not the right word, but there was a back and forth that was clearly edited for time between
Yeah.
you and Adam and Steve. So knowing that they were in power on that episode,
hmm
it seemed like maybe you had to think, I guess there's a possibility that it's going to be us, or was it
Yeah.
like no chance it's going to be us at this point?
So we ultimately thought it was going to be us, and we made a decision that we weren't going to grovel and to try to beg Adam and Steve for a deal. Like you said, we had just had this disagreement and argument in a deliberation, and like, whatever, it is what it is. Like, I didn't think I owed anything to them to beg for them not to vote me in. Obviously, we see some teams make deals with them, and that's just something that me and Big T weren't willing to do. We're both a little stubborn, and if we would have made a deal, I don't think we would have been able to hold true to it anyway because Adam and Steve were not in our alliance and they were directly against us the entire time. So I don't know. Like, I think I learned from last season not to do too much. And this time, I just wanted to stick with my people and not to try to play a shady game. And ultimately, I'm proud of that decision.
Is that something like that you have to realize when you're going into a season? Is just like, I mean, we joke on this podcast that you have to learn and grow, but that seems to really
Yeah.
be something that you have to do constantly.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this happened and then that. I
hmm
have this perception that I did this last season, so people are going to
Yeah.
think that of me. Is that something that you have to think about, like each season you go in, of what other people are thinking about me?
Yep. So one thing about me is I am like deeply like introspective. And so like I seem like on the show I do all these crazy things and have all these arguments, but I do reflect a lot on like, okay, what was I doing? How can I be better? And for me specifically, that was something I don't think I've been able to show my carefree and silly side. And I honestly am not that serious of a person. But when I'm put in an environment where it's about winning and I'm a gamer, that comes out of me. And so I wanted to show more of who I was. Um, yeah, I mean, I do think about my perception probably a little bit too much, I think, to be honest.
Okay.
But, it's one day at a time.
I think that's hard not to do for anybody, let alone somebody who's on a
Yeah,
TV show. You know what I mean? How
right.
people are going to
And you have
perceive me.
everybody giving their opinions about you on the internet. Like sometimes I just don't log into Instagram or Twitter because I don't want to see what someone thinks about me.
It's a real heady play there. All right, so we're going to do some
Yeah.
word association here. I'm going to give you a few challenge associated words, and then in
Okay.
one word or two, you just tell me what you think about it, what comes to your mind. Okay.
Okay.
TJ Lavin.
Legend.
Heights.
Hell no.
Reunions.
Super fun.
Politicking.
Exhausting as hell. 3 words.
That's fine. We'll allow that. Balance beams.
Never again.
Did you go into that elimination? You showed up where you like, of course, why would this be anything other than basically a big balance situation? Great for me. Great for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's my Achilles heel at this point, and I'm just going to assume every season I do, they're going to throw something. Like, TJ's going to find a way to get me to balance. We almost won this time, though. It wasn't, I think I redeemed myself a little bit. I also didn't fall off the back of the truck walking across that balance beam, so.
How hard was that to keep in? Like, you had to get off of that and be like, guys, I did it. You had to wait for that to air to America to be like, you guys, I did it.
Well, I was excited, and then I also knew I was just about to lose an elimination to balance, so I couldn't get too excited about it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I do respect the retweet last week. We fixed your sign when it said your biggest fear was heights.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we got that out there for you. And, because we are a fun podcast. We like to do fun things. We're not.
See, and I love fun jabs. If you make a jab at me and it's funny, I love it. I'm going to retweet it because I'm also like self-depreciating, but it's just when people are mean is when I don't like it. But I loved that. It was great.
Well, we appreciate that. And other ways of paying compliments forward, because we are the number one and we mention all things about the challenge here. Mm-hmm. This week, my fair co-host Nixie awarded you this week's ass of the week.
Me?
You, when you were on top of the, Etch a Sketch or something like that, and you were going side to side, there was some big jiggle that was going on.
Oh, like booty. Okay, I'll take that any day of the week. Me and Big T, we were team ass.
You were. So as we have people on that receive ass of the week, we do ask for an impromptu acceptance speech. So now the floor is yours to take the ass of the week winner.
Well, I would like to thank the Academy and my mother for her amazing genetics. She has a great lower half. She did a lot of volleyball, a lot of track, got very toned. And thankfully, as I was born as a little baby, I got all of that blessing from her. So honestly, thank you, Mom. I love you so much. Thank you for the ass.
Oh, what a great speech. Clear, concise, to the point. America loves it. You didn't have to wait for the music to play you off. Amazing.
Yep, I fit it right in.
Well, that's great. You've done a flagship and you've done an all-star. Now being on both, which format do you prefer? Is there a difference while you're there? Can you tell the difference in the vibes of the house? Like, how is that different being on one versus the other?
So I think All Stars is different because it's condensed. There's less people there, and so the game it gets started a lot sooner. I feel like on the flagship show, when there's so many people, like if you can stay in the middle, you're safe for like 12, 13, 14 episodes. And on All Stars, like that's all we get overall. Like, I made it halfway this time. I wish I made it further. But honestly, I just love the challenge in general. I would do either or. I think All Stars is a lot more fun. Obviously, some of the OGs weren't happy that some new cats like me and Big T were there. But overall, I had such a great experience. And I just continue to be honored that I'm even on the show and been asked back to come back for 3 seasons now. Like, I never thought I'd get a challenge trilogy, and yet here I am.
Here you are making moves as part of the trilogy now. Last question, we'll let you go. One of the things that stood out on this episode was at the daily vote, we're talking about the people planting seeds. You're like, people are planting seeds. They're planting seeds. You knew who was planting seeds, right? You were just keeping that for next week, potentially in your back pocket.
I knew who it was, and part of me wishes I just confronted Veronica and Katie in that deliberation. But the problem is, if you're the person that is making waves, there's a potential that the House vote flips onto you.
Mm.
And Veronica and Katie have a lot of power and a lot of social like awareness. So I wasn't willing to say their name in that moment, but I honestly probably should have. And maybe we could have voted them in because that was the whole plan initially was Veronica and Katie. And then things just kind of went to hell.
So how does that differ from last week when you heard Dario and you went to tell them? How does that, like, in terms of gameplay, how does that kind of change?
So Devin and Leroy were in my alliance from day one.
Got it.
And I didn't let people know that. And so the second I heard that Dario was willing to throw in Leroy and Devin, I'm like, that's one of my strongest allies. They're a male-male team. I've been aligned with them. I'm really good friends with Michelle. So that's why I made that decision. And ultimately, I think it was the right decision to tell them. But unfortunately, they still ended up going home. So it ended up kind of not working in my favor.
That's all right. Made good friendships out of this season, though. You feeling good? I'm seeing your lives on Wednesdays. The quad box, if you will, on the live.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. I've wanted to meet Frank for a long time, and him and I bonded a lot. And I think in general, I'm walking out with a lot more friends and maybe only one enemy this time around. So
nice. We love that. All right, man. Well, nice talking to you. We appreciate your time, and hopefully we get to do a long form at a later point.
Yes, it was amazing. Just hit me up. I'm down.
Sounds good. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Have a great day.